Imagine growing up sick, wheelchair-bound, fed through tubes, told you were dying, but none of it was true. This is the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a girl raised to believe she was ill, and the mother who controlled every part of her life. For years, people saw Gypsy as a fragile, sweet girl battling countless diseases. Her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, was praised as a devoted caregiver who sacrificed everything for her daughter. To outsiders, they looked like the perfect example of strength and unconditional love. But behind closed doors, their reality was very different. Gypsy was born in 1991, and from a very young age, Dee Dee began telling doctors that her daughter was seriously ill. She claimed Gypsy suffered from leukemia, muscular dystrophy, seizures, and even brain damage. According to her, Gypsy couldn't walk, couldn't eat properly, and needed constant medical care. Because of this, Gypsy was forced to use a wheelchair. Even though she could actually walk, her head was shaved regularly to make it look like she was undergoing chemotherapy. She was given medications she didn't need, and in some cases, subjected to medical procedures that were completely unnecessary. Some doctors began to question Dee Dee's claims, but she always had an explanation. She was convincing, calm, and knew how to manipulate the system. Over time, many medical professionals simply believed her. What was happening was later believed to be Munchausen syndrome by proxy, where a caregiver creates illness in someone to gain sympathy. But the control didn't stop at Gypsy's physical health. She was isolated from the world. She wasn't allowed to go to school or have friends. Dee Dee controlled everything: what she ate, how she spoke, and even her age. Gypsy was made to think she was younger than her actual age, and was constantly told that she was too sick to live a normal life. She was also threatened. Dee Dee made her believe that if she ever tried to escape or disobey, something terrible would happen to her. Meanwhile, their story attracted sympathy. They received donations, free trips, and even a house built by charity organizations. People saw them as survivors, not knowing that Gypsy was living in fear and control. As Gypsy grew older, she slowly began to realize that something wasn't right. She discovered that she could walk. She started questioning the illnesses she had been told she had all her life. Eventually, she found a way to secretly access the internet. That's when she met Nicholas Godijon. He quickly became emotionally attached to Gypsy. The two began an online relationship, sharing messages, fantasies, and eventually plans. For Gypsy, he represented something she had never truly experienced before: freedom. But their relationship took a dark turn. Gypsy began to see Nicholas as a way out of her situation. She believed there was only one way to escape her mother's control. In June 2015, Nicholas traveled to the home Gypsy shared with Dee Dee. That night, Gypsy hid in the bathroom while Nicholas went into Dee Dee's bedroom. He stabbed Dee Dee multiple times. By the time it was over, Dee Dee Blanchard was dead. After the murder, Gypsy and Nicholas fled the house. Days later, a disturbing message appeared on Dee Dee's Facebook account. Friends and neighbors immediately became worried and contacted the police. When authorities arrived, they expected to find a severely ill, helpless girl in danger. Instead, they found something shocking. Gypsy was gone, and more importantly, it became clear that she was not physically disabled at all. The truth began to unfold quickly. Gypsy and Nicholas were tracked down and arrested. As the investigation continued, the story that shocked the public even more than the murder itself began to come out. Gypsy had spent her entire life being abused, manipulated, and controlled by her mother. The case quickly divided public opinion. Some saw Gypsy as a victim. Others believed planning a murder crossed a line. In 2016, Gypsy Rose Blanchard pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 years in prison for her role in her mother's death. Nicholas Godijon was later sentenced to life in prison. Today, the story continues to raise difficult questions about abuse, control, and responsibility. Gypsy was not the helpless, sick child the world believed she was, but she also wasn't entirely free to make her own choices. Her life was shaped by manipulation and fear, making it hard for many people to clearly define whether she should be seen as a victim, a criminal, or both. If you were in her position, what would you have done?